Let's talk about some leg muscles, specifically the inner thigh muscles. So did you know there's 5 inner thigh muscles? We have adductor muscles, and that's adding together instead of abductors, abductors, which goes away from the body. Bringing the body in or bringing the legs in will be adductors, inner thighs. So we have adductor longus, brevis, magnus. So adductor longus, adductor brevis, adductor magnus, and then the pectineus and gracilis. So we have 5, and they run inner thighs. So you want to think inner thighs go all the way up into the pelvic floor, into the abdominals. So they go up here in the pelvis, and they run down the inner thighs here to the knees. So they bring the legs closer to the midline. That's when they contract. And then going away from the midline, they will stretch. So they're a little tough to stretch just with, in everyday life, we don't just stretch the inner thighs unless you're in Pilates or yoga. So you can feel the inner thighs by having the legs this way, and you wanna bend one knee and you can hinge forward. That's where you're gonna start to feel them. So you can do this standing or sitting, and you can feel them there. So when we work in Pilates, whether it's feet in straps, you'll be feeling those inner thighs, bringing the legs back in together. But specifically, kneeling and standing on the reformer, we're going to be working them. So I'm gonna show you 2 exercises that you'll be seeing throughout the month, but you've also seen them in classes before. We do them all the time because they're great for the legs. So the first one we call banana splits. We love banana splits, right? So the knee is against the back shoulder rest. The foot is towards the front of the extender. So if you have heavier tension, the heavier tension would be a red and a blue. That will be considered more outer leg and glute work. It will still work the inner thighs, but you won't really be feeling as much stretch. You're gonna be working outer part of the leg more. But if you lighten the tension to a red or lower, you're gonna be feeling more inner thigh stretch in here. So let me show you. You can do this holding on or being upright. Holding on, because the pelvis is tipped forward, you're going to be feeling more of the stretch. Being upright here, I will not be feeling as much stretch through the inner thighs. You're still gonna get the lengthening, but not as much stretch because this is more pelvic floor and more stability. So when we press away, we're feeling the stretch to the inner thighs. We're stretching those 5 little muscles in there, as well as abdominal engagement, as well as the outer leg as well, but you're really feeling those inner thighs. And then when you press away and stay out there, now with this leg, press it away. It goes away from the hip, and then bring the knee under the hip. Press it away, and as you're doing that, you're keeping this leg straight and reaching out through that leg. You're getting the inner thighs to stretch, and this is where you're feeling the stretch. Some people are super, super tight. That's okay. I can't say I'm super, super tight, but I feel it. I feel tight, but I'm able to go out pretty far, but I can still feel the stretch there. And then in. So that's the first exercise with the inner thighs that you can really, really feel. The next one would be kneeling or standing side splits. So you will see this in class. Sometimes we do it kneeling. One knee is on the small extender, one knee is on the moving carriage, and you can be upright for a little more balance and pelvic stability, or you can hold on for a little more stretch. So we have heavier tension. We'll work the outside of the legs and into the glutes. Lighter tension will be more inner thigh work because we have to control it out and then really pull it in using those abdominals and inner thighs to bring it back together because there's not as much tension to pull it back together for us. So this is the light tension, a half spring. You're gonna glide out, 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 out. I'm able to go pretty far, but then there's not as much tension to pull it in. So I have to use my abdominals and use those inner thighs, those 5 inner thighs on each side to pull it in and up and nice and tall. So it's a lot of pelvic floor here. It's a lot of abdominals. Inner thighs connect up into the abs. So working the inner thighs will actually work more of your abdominal muscles. So this is one version of the exercise that you'll see. If I want a little more inner thigh stretch and opening through the hips, I would hold on and I'm able to go out. I don't want to just sink and and arch through the back though. So I'm staying in a nice flat back, going out, 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 and in. So last option, we would do standing. So in order to stand, you always step on the small extender first, the non-moving part, and then the other foot goes onto the moving part. So this is a half spring, so this is going to be super light tension. Again, it'll be harder to bring the carriage in. So you're gonna inhale to go out, and I'm able to go out pretty far because of the light tension. Now to pull it in, I'm tightening those abdominals. Inner thighs are working to come in and up, and I'm nice and tall. So it's a lot of inner leg work right here is where you're gonna feel it. It's a lot of stability compared to the outer legs working with the heavier tension. This is all in here in abdominal work. So, I'll step on off. So in order to get the inner thighs to engage, for these exercises anyways, you have to do lighter tension. That will have the inner thighs work. And then more tension, we're gonna have more into the outer quads and into the glutes. So lighter tension is gonna help those inner thighs work, as well as you're gonna feel them more. And then we also wanna stretch them as well. So there's other exercises within classes where you're gonna feel them stretching. So let's work on those 5 inner thighs, and we can focus on that this month.